We all know that gravity is not a force. Even if it was, it doesn't hold the atmosphere onto the Earth. Because it isn't capable of doing it, it's not nearly strong enough. Remember, gravity is proportionate to the mass. So the smaller the mass, the smaller the force. Gas particles are minuscule. They travel at high velocity. They require a force equal to the mass. We know that the force of gravity as per Cavendish was a 50 millionth of the object's weight, and it was not greater than. So for all of these little gas particles that are all buzzing around the Earth, that all weigh a gnat's dick, then you've got a 50 millionth of a gnat's dick that's working against these atoms that are all bouncing around everywhere. It isn't nearly enough. But what I'm going to show you is how ballers cannot scale at all when it comes to the gas pressure and the atmosphere point. Here we have Mick West's wonderful gas calculator. I didn't know this existed until very recently. And you can see that planet G, big G, is gravity. And we know gravity is not a force. So what we'll do, we'll turn gravity off, because you can't have any gravity. And that's really what's really happening with our atmosphere on your model. So with no gravity, basically there is no atmosphere. You do get particles colliding with the Earth periodically, every now and again. But there is no atmosphere, right? The Earth's gravitational pull can pull all these things in. Problem is though, when you flick the gravity off, because we know that gravity is not a force, watch what happens. Where the fuck's the atmosphere going? It's going out in all directions, isn't it? So for all you morons that think that you don't need to have an explanation for this, because you don't need to have a container or whatever, a density gradient proves that it doesn't blah blah this and blah blah that. You can't have the density gradient unless you've got some kind of containment, because it fucks off into space. This is what it does with no gravity, right?
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
You get your density gradient from the fact that it's dynamic, it's mixed up by the sun, the hydrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, everything's all being mixed up by the sun and all of those creation of gases, all at surface level. That's where the density gradient comes from, and it's so obvious and intuitive that we live on under or in some kind of containment, and call it dome or whatever, who cares. It has to be this way because you can't have gas pressure without a container.
fucking retard? Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!